Hey everyone, welcome to Old Game Save. I am your host, Jordan Vickers, and tonight we are doing something a little bit different. I've been anticipating a topic like this. It is one where I have no history with the game whatsoever. It's all about our guest tonight, and why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey Jordan, thanks for having me on. I'm the Sly G Cooper. Real name's Gary. I'm part of a few different groups, part of the Trophy Talk Discord. I do a podcast with Smackerly, also known as Ray, called Platinum Achievements. Yeah, I'm kind of just all over the place. I'm on Steam. I'm on PlayStation, Xbox, whichever. But basically, what we're talking about today is one of my favorite games of all time, Fantasy Star Online. It's been on a number of platforms. Started out on the Dreamcast, and then a port came to the GameCube and Xbox with additional content. But yeah, um, I I've never been on one of these before. Thanks for having me. But I guess I'll let. I don't know if you want me to just kind of ramble, or if you want me to, if you kind of want to like guide me in specific directions, and I'll talk about specific aspects. Or, um, yeah,
Yeah, well, I'll go ahead and ask you a few questions, and
sure,
I'll
yeah,
let you ramble on from there. But
hmm
yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. We had another guest, but they just kept uh, not being able to record, and
hmm
that's fine. So I really appreciate you kind of coming in on like the 11th hour and being able to talk about this game. I don't have too much of a history. I played the original Fantasy Star for the Sega. Not, I think it was the Mega Drive. The system before the Genesis,
Oh, the
uh,
Master System.
the Master System. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I played that on a Sega Genesis collection, and I almost finished that game, never got quite to it. I've been meaning to go back and finish it and play the original four games. I hear they're really good RPGs.
Yeah, that's what
As
I've heard too.
for as for Fantasy Star Online, it just was mysteriously kind of there back when I was a teenager. It I wanted to play it, but there were a few problems back then. I didn't have any way to connect my consoles to the internet. Wi-Fi wasn't a thing yet, and there was no way I would be able to get a landline to my GameCube, let alone pray that nobody picked up the phone because that's how it just was back then.
God, I hated that.
Secondly, I didn't really have disposable income. You couldn't just buy the game and play. This was one of the first MMOs, and it still required a subscription service. And I guess we can kind of talk about that. Like, how were you able to play this game back in the day?
So, a little bit of backstory. I When the Dreamcast first came out, I was pretty much shitting bricks because I wanted to play one so bad. Um, and I mean, my family couldn't afford it when they came out. It came out 1999. Easy to remember that date. And there was a ton of games announced for it. This game, I'm not even sure how I found out about it. I did end up getting a Dreamcast when they went on sale after they started discontinuing them. I think it was a year, or I think it was in 2000. Yeah, it was like towards the end of the next year, I want to say. I can't remember the exact release date of this game, but I ended up picking it up on a whim shortly after getting the Dreamcast, and I didn't know much about it. Just looked kind of cool. Um, and I started out playing just offline because you can. There's a completely offline mode. Like, you can basically just run through the areas, fight enemies, level up. There's like NPC quests you can get that that you can earn rewards through and stuff like that. That's definitely not where the fun of the game lies. I did that for I think I played offline for I don't know maybe a week or two. I ended up talking my parents into picking me up the strategy guide, which I still have, which I'm holding in my hands as we speak. um, and I basically told my parents I was like, "Hey, like, is there any way that because we had a personal computer and we had dial up internet and um, I think as long as you had trying to remember because there was a specific way to log on to the on to log on to the internet through the Dreamcast, and I think you had to like create a specific type of email account, and I can't remember what type it was, but anyways, you didn't actually have to pay, there wasn't a subscription fee for this. It was actually as long as you have internet, you could basically play it online. And my parents basically said, "Okay, well, we're not spending any extra money, right?" And I'm like, "No, like it's literally just, um, you just need to let me basically bogard the internet while I'm playing it." And I remember talking them into buying me a keyboard for the Dreamcast so I could actually because at first I did start out just using the controller and stuff and it was kind of terrible because back then there wasn't like voice chat or anything. You literally could only um, either use in-game emotes or in-game like pre-made messages and stuff like that, or you'd use a keyboard. And finally I got a keyboard and I started playing with like other random people and I actually like it's like a whole different game online obviously. Like the quests are kind of just it's just more about just hanging out with people you meet online, killing shit, leveling up, finding like rare weapons. It's kind of I guess it's kind of comparable to something like playing like the Diablo games online, kind of like going going through dungeons repeatedly and building up your character with experience and just getting better loot. Um and I don't know, there's just something about that specific um gameplay loop that hooked me like at that age. And I actually made a ton of friends like through this. And then some of my friends basically I kind of talked them into getting it too. So obviously that I had to do it. And almost every like online friend that I talked to that played games played this game. So like I almost always had somebody to play it online with. Um but yeah, that's kind of my initial history with this game.
That's kind of amazing. Like you were able to get so many people you knew to play this game because it seemed
Yeah.
like such a barrier online. Because I could have sworn when I was looking up this game that the GameCube version did require a monthly fee. But speaking of like you getting a keyboard and everything, and me talking about the GameCube version, if you ever seen the infamous keyboard GameCube controller, that was what this was for. Um, it,
Yeah. Yeah, I bought one of those when I got the GameCube version, and that thing was wild. Just
so
holding you're basically holding an entire keyboard in your hands with it's essentially a GameCube controller split down the middle with the keyboard just glued in. Like that's if you could picture that in your mind, that's what it looks like. It's wild.
yeah, Not to mention, you had to get it imported. They did not sell that inside the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So it's wild to think uh, anyone here ever got that thing. Um, Speaking of the GameCube version, that's the copy I seen the most in stores,
Mm-hmm.
and it probably is because people picked it up. And did you see if they did require a service fee?
Yeah, so I'm looking at that right now. It says the initial version, it was free to play, free for online, and then they released version 2, which I don't think the US even got version 2 on Dreamcast. I think I imported it. I think I got like a burnt copy off some like random sketchy website. But that one is the first one to require like I think it's 5, this is like $5 to $9 per month. I don't know why there's a range. But I'm assuming the GameCube version is probably around the same. Let me look real quick. But yeah,
This
I really only played the original version, and then I jumped. I didn't. I picked up a copy of version 2 on Dreamcast, but I don't think I ever played it online because I didn't want to pay the fee. And at that point too, like I think the GameCube and stuff was coming out shortly, and I'm like,
I probably saw it everywhere in that version because I imagine a lot of people picked it up not knowing you needed to connect to the internet and then
yep,
you needed to pay a monthly fee. And that stuff was extremely new, and especially to consoles. Like if you had a PC, you might know of that world, but if you have a PC, you're already connected to the internet. You just need to play the monthly fines for like things like probably EverQuest 2 or things of that nature.
yeah,
This was right before the World of Warcraft came to the scene. Uh, so the plot of this game, from what I've understood, is it's a colonization plot. People from a dying planet go from one planet to another. There already was one ship that had already made the trek, but that trek apparently ended badly because when they show up, everyone from that first ship is gone.
hmm
Uh, you want to expound on that?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I barely remember the plot.
You barely remember the plot.
I that was really wasn't what I wasn't I wasn't really playing for the plot, so I didn't really pay too much attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't an overbearing theme. What would you say, like, how the game kind of looked and such then?
So it kind of had kind of an almost cartoony style. Um, but they like the character proportions were like realistic. But the colors are super vibrant. Like everything was like super vibrant and colorful. Um, but there's different like races you can play as, and they're all very distinct. They all have a very distinct like look to them. You can kind of tell um, just by looking at them like what race they are. Um, but every area is very distinct. Um, like if you join somebody's game, like mid match or whatever, because there's lobbies. And what you could do is you could put up what's called a like a it's I think they called them a telepipe, where you can literally either use an item or a spell, and it creates like a portal from where you're at in the level to the town, and anyone can jump in through that from the town and join you, like if they join your game. But like I was kind of like what I was mentioning before, like if you jumped in, you pretty much immediately knew where you were at because the levels are very distinctive. Um, you've got, I guess I'll touch on that real quick, is you've got in the initial game, you've got the forest zone, cave zone, mine zone, and ruins. And
Sounds like a Sonic game.
yeah, kind of, right? I mean, it's just called forest, cave, mines, and ruins. I'm just calling them zones, but they'll each have their own boss. There's basically it alternates how many zones are in each area too. Like forest has 2 areas, cave has 3, and then mines back to 2, and then ruins is 3 again. But each area has a boss that you have to beat to be able to get to the next area. And then the GameCube and Xbox versions with Episode 2. added, I want to say 3 new areas. Let me double check. I haven't played that version in a hot minute. Um,
I do remember a synopsis I saw. Episode 2 was there was a secret lab made by the first pioneers,
mm-hmm.
and something mysterious happens.
Yeah.
And like that sounds kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the episode 2 added a ton of zones. There was a VR temple, which is kind of like a virtual temple like environment, VR spaceship. Um, the hub area was different. There was like a separate hub area for episode 2. There was a jungle like tropical area. There was a mountain rocky area, and then an underwater like high tech seabed like lab, which was really cool. Um, but yeah, so there's total basically like actual like zones with enemies in them. If you're playing like the newer versions, there's like 7 total, I believe.
Okay. Uh, do you remember what the characters and classes were like?
Yeah. So classes, the initial version on the Dreamcast, it was split between hunters, rangers, and forces. And hunters were basically melee class. You could use sabers, daggers, partisans, which are like spears. Rangers specialized in long range combat, so they've got like you can use pistols, you can use rifles, assault rifles, stuff like that. And then you've got forces, which are basically just the magic classes. They call it. That's essentially what they call magic in that game. And it's obviously they're glass cannon, so they're not meant to. It's difficult to solo as a force because you have crappy health. But I mean, they've got some crazy spells, and they're kind of tiered like Final Fantasy games are, where they kind of name them based on the power level of the spell. Like they kind of use. I'm trying to explain. How do I explain that? Like, hold on. Let me go to the spells real quick, and I'll kind of give you a rundown real quick.
I do remember hearing said, and this could have been in episode 2, but only certain types of people were able to do spells. Like I heard if you picked androids, you weren't able to do spells. You were able to do something else.
Yeah. So, other than the classes, if depending on your race, you basically can only do certain things. So, um, just to kind of give you, hold on. Sorry, I'm going off of my guide. Yeah. So there's humans. They call them. I think they call them humes in this game. Humans are kind of like the all rounder. They're kind of jack of all trade, master of none. You've got, like you mentioned before, androids, which they do really good damage. They've got really good defense, but they can't use any magic. And then you've got the what is the third one called? Sorry, give me one sec. The names are kind of weird that they give them. Yeah, like for instance, they basically use the beginning of your class to name them. So so like kind of give you like a mixture here. So like a hunter human male is a humar, but like a hunter, oh, that's what they're called. So the other race is a Newman. It almost looks like an elf. But like a hunter Newman female is a Hoonwerl. Like they kind of name basically your class based. It's like a mixture of what your race and what your actual class is. Like a hunter android male is a Who cast.
Okay.
Ranger human male is a Raymar. It was kind of weird how they did it, but you know. And you can't really pick you can't really pick a specific, at least in the initial one, you couldn't pick like oh, male or female in any race or any class. It was basically like there was like designated ones you could pick.
Okay, so
Like you
very
couldn't.
limited in what you could do.
Yeah, like if you wanted to be like a ranger human, you could only be male. You couldn't be female.
Oh,
But if you wanted, you could always be like a female android. You could always be a ranger female, but you'd have to be like an android. Like it was kind of limited, but it was also kind of interesting because you wouldn't see the customization was actually pretty deep. Like you could pick a ton of different hairstyles, costume colors, all kinds of stuff. So you rarely ever saw like the same look in person, which was cool. Um, I think. Hold on, I want to say the episode. Hold on a second. I think more classes and stuff were added in the GameCube and Xbox versions.
yeah. I heard they it gave at least 3 or 4 new classes.
Yeah. Let's see. Give me one sec here. Yeah. So they added it. So who they added a female hunter. Who? What's a? I think that's a new race. So you could also play as like a female android hunter. It's a Hukaziel. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. They added an additional ranger, Ray Kaziel, which is a female android ranger, and then they added a which one was it? A Fomar, which is a force human male. Because before you could only play as a force human female if you wanted to be magic user human. So they kind of expanded on it a little bit. Um, they added a ton more weapons and stuff like that too.
Okay, sorry about that.
You're good. Um, so I looked up a more detailed like species um, description that I can kind of go over here real quick.
Yeah.
Um, so humans, kind of like I said, they're a balanced race with strong potential in power, accuracy, and techniques, which are spells. They don't regenerate either HP or TP. TP is basically what's used for spells and cannot use traps. Their material usage limit is 250, which makes them extremely flexible with regard to their stats. Newmans, which are the elf-looking people, it's a genetically modified race evolved from humans. They excel at casting techniques rather than engaging in melee or ranged combat. They naturally regenerate TP, but only while standing still. Their material usage limit is 150. And then androids, unable to use techniques but can use traps. Androids are naturally immune to the poison and paralysis status effects. And ultimate difficulty, they receive a 30% bonus to both the amount of HP and XP stolen from all HP drain and XP steal weapons specials, as well as to the activation rate of all freezing, paralysis, and confusion weapon specials. Okay. They would naturally regenerate HP, but only while standing still. Their material usage limit is 150. So I personally, I'm boring. I play as humans in like every game that I ever play. Because for me, it's more relatable. I understand, for some people, oh, it's about the fantasy and everything. I just prefer the way that humans look in most games. Maybe that's a little bit superficial, but I also just like having balanced stats because in some games, especially like MMOs where you can change your class, I like having the ability to just kind of change to whatever I want without being like held back. Um, my first starting race and um, class was a human ranger. Um,
Okay.
because when I was playing by myself, I was like, dude, I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to like, because normally I'm a melee guy. But I was like, well, if I go in with ranged weapons, maybe I'll have more of a chance just like soloing stuff. Because it'll take a while for the enemy to get to me. I can basically just like, snipe from far away or kite. Um,
Yeah, definitely
which
keep things at a distance.
yeah, which definitely kind of helped. Um, I remember when I did start playing online, I think I ended up making a hunter, and I prefer the hunter because I always just prefer melee. Um,
This game, it isn't so much like a cooldown timer, right? It's more actiony based, correct?
yeah, so it's all live action, so to speak, like real time. Basically, with like attacks, you have a light attack, you have a heavy attack. Obviously, the light's quicker, heavy's slower. But you almost kind of have to like. There's almost like a rhythm to it. Like if you do it, because if you look at you have like a hotkey bar at the
Yeah.
bottom, which correspond to your button layout on your controller, and you can basically put those anywhere you want. But every time you use like a light or a heavy attack, the bar will fill back up when it's ready to use, like which is almost instant. But if you kind of press it in a rhythm, especially like if you're doing ranged attacks, you kind of do like combos in a way where you're not interrupting your attacks. It makes it easier to like continuously attack enemies.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, you kind of have to learn that rhythm.
And I'm kind of surprised they were able to do that, especially back in the day, because
Hmm.
it seemed like all MMOs were like cooldown timers, and a big portion of that is like so they can keep uh, not so much a flow going, but like that's just what the processing power could handle.
Yeah.
And since the original Fantasy Star games were turn based, I'm kind of surprised at how action heavy this one is. It seems like a really ambitious game for what they tried to do at the time.
Hmm. Um,
Um,
the only downside to this system is that it is still stat based. So if you're fighting something that's way higher level than you, even though you're physically hitting it on the screen, you're probably still going to miss.
oh, that's
It's kind of
interesting.
yeah, it's kind of like if the closest thing I can compare it to would be like Morrowind. Like if you ever played like the or even maybe of Oblivion. I think Oblivion in a way where like if your stats weren't high enough, you'd be swinging at something and you'd still miss, and it's kind of a pain in the ass sometimes. But yeah, that's the only downside. It's action, but it's still very stat heavy. Like stat what's the word I'm thinking of?
Uh,
Like it just requires the correct stats to be able to function properly.
okay.
So,
So,
you know.
did you have any favorite zones that you really love playing over and over again with people online?
Um I I probably have the most nostalgia for the original one because I played obviously like I played that one the most, especially when I was playing with myself. That's kind of as far as I got, I think. The forest area. But the I remember when I first got to the last area in the original game, the ruins area. Dude,
Yeah.
that area is kind of spooky. Like it's like dark. It's got kind of like borderline creepy music. The enemies are kind of like alien like and creepy. And when I remember when I first played that area, I was playing with friends, but I'm just like everything hit really hard, and I was just kind of like I don't know, it just kind of freaked me out a little bit. um, but I would say most memorable would be that, and then potentially like the caves because the caves there's actually um, it's it's got some creepiness to it too for an older game. But the boss that you fight is like this giant worm. So basically, you go into this area and it's like this giant raft, and this raft is just moving down. It almost looks like the tunnel of a sewer, and there's this giant. worm just following you on the raft, and you basically have to like dodge its attacks and hit it a certain amount of times. And the music is a banger. Like the song that plays, it's so good. Like I would say, um, probably that and the ruins are the most memorable for me.
So that giant worm, was that like a boss fight?
It was a boss fight, yeah,
Okay.
and that shit's hard as hell if you're not ready for it.
What are some typical like enemies and bosses that you would encounter, and how do they play like?
um, so each zone has its own distinct enemies. So here, let me give you a little rundown. So the forest area probably has the most like normal, quote unquote normal, like um animal style enemies. Like there's different tiers of an enemy called boomas, and they're almost like bipedal wolves.
Oh yeah.
They like walk on two legs. It almost looks like a werewolf a little bit. But there's three different like difficulties. There's a booma, a go booma, and a giga booma. um,
This
they
sounds
have
like Digimon.
I know. That's like kind of their whole idea. Their whole idea behind naming conventions for everything, like the spells and everything too. How they tier the spells. They have these things that kind of look like penguins. They're called rag rappies, and normally they'll drop either decent items or like a decent amount of money when you kill them. But they're kind of hard to kill because they tend to run away. They're kind of like I don't know if you've played like the Dragon Quest games, but they're kind of like I guess kind of like metal slimes.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, yeah. They have savage and barbarous wolves that look like it looks kind of like a regular wolf, but it almost looks like a little bit like robotic in a way. It's got like metal skin, but like fur as well. It has kind of like a funky look to it, but they have these weird things that spit out basically mosquitoes. They're called monests. They're like these big things with three legs and like a sack, and they just like spit out mosquitoes. Those things are annoying as hell.
Oh no, it's a
Um,
living token deck.
um, and then the boss for that area is a giant fucking dragon. It's crazy, and you're fighting it like in like this area full of lava. It's pretty epic.
That sounds really fun. Do you remember any enemies that you really liked playing against, or just gave you such a hard time that you're like, ah, not these fuckers again?
Actually, yeah. I'm looking at the caves, and there's like these man-eating plants in the caves,
Yeah.
and they're called poison lilies. And whenever they hit you, there's a high chance that you'll get poisoned. And unless you literally have an item to cure poison, you're fucked. And early on, you probably don't. Um, that one sucked. Let me see. Hold on. Let me look through these other enemies real quick to see if. Totally forgot about some of these things. Um, that cave boss is fun to fight. It's funny because it's called day rolly. It's like a giant worm, but it has like a skull on the end of its like on its like where its face would be. It looks kind of creepy. But basically, you have to break that off to like do any damage to it. Um, hold on a sec. I'm looking through to see what the other enemies are. I remember I liked fighting in the third area, the mines.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of different types of robots that you fight, and they're super fun to fight because you can actually like knock off parts of their body. Like there's just kind of your standard robot that you can knock off parts of their body, and then they have, oh god, I'm getting PTSD thinking about it. They have these other enemies that are called Garans, and they're like these crazy. They almost look like transformer robots, but they fire missiles at you, and they can do a shit ton of damage. They can like one shot you if you're not ready. Like whenever I ran into those, I would shit a brick. Oh, and then in the last area, the ruins, there's these enemies called Del Sabers, and they look like they're like so all the enemies in that area are like basically like weird alien looking things, and this one has like a crazy sword. for for one hand, and then his other hand is like a claw, and it just does a shit ton of damage. I remember like they're really fast, they hit really hard. Yeah, they're just kind of crazy.
Um, so this is an MMO. Was there an in-game or things to do after you beat the game? Like, how does that all work?
Say that one more time. Sorry, I was looking at the thing.
Oh, it's
I was.
since this is an MMO. After you initially beat the game, was there an in-game sort of deal, or what was there kind of do once when you initially beat it?
So once you beat it, you do get like an actual like ending cutscene, but then basically it brings you and your party back to the main city hub, and you can basically like it unlocks the next difficulty. So there's basically normal, hard, very hard, and ultimate. So every time you beat the last boss on that difficulty, you unlock the next difficulty, and you can basically just start all over and do it all over again.
So,
um,
if you were able to beat the game on Ultimate, is it just like loot grinding at that point,
yeah,
or
yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like,
okay,
because there's a very low percentage chance to get like super rare weapons that'll drop from like either bosses or enemies on like higher difficulties, and
okay,
that's kind of what people would do. There was even people that would they would find exploits, and they would do what's called duping, when they would like duplicate things. So there was times even just like months after the release of the game, people would like just drop a ton of rare weapons because they figured out ways of like duping them. And I'm like,
okay,
I mean, at that point, like, because the drop rates on those weapons are so low, I'm like, I'll take some free rare weapons. I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? Like, it gets to a point where I was like, I'll take some of that. But that's kind of the main goal. It's basically like a dungeon crawling. It's your typical dungeon crawling like loot grind essentially.
okay. And like, how far did you get? Like, did you do the Ultimate, or uh,
Um, I don't think I made it to ultimate. I think I got to. I want to say hard or very hard. I'm trying to remember what the max level was. Um, because I ended up I got kind of bored after a while. Like a lot of my friends quit the game after a while, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Like it loses a lot of its appeal if you don't have people to play with.
that yeah,
Um, you know, so
uh,
I never like I never went the full 9 yards, but I got like some decent loot from people. I did a decent amount of grinding. Definitely got my fill from it for sure. And then I did it all
okay.
over again on GameCube.
How long would you say you like played the game?
Ooh, like combined between all versions or just like individually?
You said you started with the Dreamcast era. Like, do you remember what year did you stop? I hear that the original servers went on like '07 or '06.
Yeah, something like that. I definitely put. That's hard to say. I want to say I put more time into the Dreamcast version because
Okay,
I played it with more people. I probably put a good 100+ hours into the Dreamcast version. Um, and then they released the GameCube version like 2 years later, and um, a few of my buddies got that version, which obviously added more content. The cool thing about that version too is that they're split screen, so we could literally like play. Like I would bring the game to my buddy's house, and we would play the game together, split screen, like at his house too.
Okay, were you able to hook it up LAN party style, or was that not feasible?
I don't think we ever. I don't know if you could. I think it was only split screen or online. I don't think there was like LAN style.
Okay.
Yeah, the Xbox
Um,
version might have had that. I'm not sure.
so do you have any fun stories like while playing with your friends, or like things that were happening with you in your real life that make you like resonate when you were playing the game?
Um, Man, that was a long ass time ago. I'm trying to think. That was like what I said, 2001. I
Yeah.
was like 13, 14. um, I'm trying to. I don't remember like any like major specific things. I just remember like I had like different groups of friends online that I never met in real life, but like we were really close. Like we talked pretty much every day. Um, but I remember there was times where there's pretty much always somebody playing the game where you could hop in and like join somebody. Like we would just those are the days of AOL Instant Messenger, and we would just hop on and be like, "Yo, are you playing Phantasy Star Online?" You know what I mean? Or because there wasn't really like in game. I think you could kind of see. I can't remember. I think you'd have to like message the person to see if they were online because there wasn't like the whole like online status thing. Like if in current MMOs now where it would tell you if they were playing. Um, and the way that it worked with this, it wasn't like one big world, it was lobbies. So there's like basically there's lobbies that are separated into there's like a max capacity in each lobby, like outside lobby. And then each lobby is divided by like region and then that's divided into like multiple lobbies because otherwise it would get too crowded. And then from those like outside lobbies, you could join like a room and the max amount of people you could play with in a room, like an actual game, is four. So um, basically, you could either do like a public one, you could do a private one if you want to just play with friends or by yourself or whatever. Um, and yeah, you could basically pick like whatever difficulties you have unlocked, whatever areas you have unlocked, and then people could just could just jump in. There's there when it comes to like I can't remember anything specific like memory wise because I have goldfish memory, but when it comes to like that was a very like formative time of my life. So like hearing even just like the the title screen music, like almost like brings like borderline brings me to tears because it just like kind of makes me think of like simpler times and like I would hear that a lot too because we would get disconnected. It's dial up, so like there'd be times where like my friends were playing and I'm like, oh, I just want to like jump back on with them, and like I'd be stuck on the title menu because it wouldn't load, or because my mom was using the phone for 2 hours, or you know what I mean. So it's like there's just something that resonates with me about that title screen music. It's just yeah, it hits me different every time. Even my buddy that I used to play with, like one of my best friends, um, I uh I think I played the song for him like a few years ago and he's like, "Oh, he's like that song, man. Like that song just hits." And I'm like, "Right?" Like it's not just me. Like if he's saying that cuz normally he doesn't like even he doesn't really ever bring up music. So if it hits him to it's like, you know what I mean? It's like one of those songs that's yeah, it's hard to explain. It's everybody I think everybody has games where there's certain songs that just emotionally resonate with them.
Oh yeah, yeah. And given by like a few clues that you hit, we are really around the same age.
Yeah.
So I kind of resonate this time with like probably when I was just really starting to get into anime. Adult Swim just started.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, this was like man, Saturday nights were just the fucking time to the place and time to be, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
I love Toonami.
yeah, yeah. The GameCube just came out. You know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
playing Smash Bros. Or Metroid Prime.
Yeah. Oh, Metroid Prime is another good one with good music. Ugh.
Yeah, yeah. Y'all should check out that episode where me and Kevin talked about Metroid Prime Remastered. not, not to plug more of my own
Shameless
shit.
plug.
uh, oh man, but uh, so you mostly played, with the exception of the split screen, people online.
Hmm.
And you said you, with the exception of the friends you already had, you never really met anyone online or anything like that. Do you
No,
talk to any of them still?
no. I wish I do. I mean, I wish I do. I wish I did. Like, there's a few that I tried to reach out to, but people move on and people have their own lives and everything. And I I do remember that there was one buddy that I played with. Like, I was like really good. This is probably like when we first got the internet, and I can't even remember where we met. I think it was on like the Game Facts forums, Game FAQs,
Yeah,
like the first forums like ever. Um, I was obsessed with those back in the day, but I met a buddy on there and like we just clicked immediately and like we'd talk on like aim and stuff, and then we played Fantasy Star together. I think we like made a website together. Like, I do remember like these other friends that I had that were brothers, or it was one that was like slightly older than the other, but I play with both of them. I remember even we would even play like uh that was back. So that was even back then. You could even play online on like Super Nintendo emulators. They had the ability to do it back then. Like, I remember it was like ZSNES. That was like
yeah,
that was like the first Super Nintendo emulator, that and SNES 9X. Um but yeah, we would literally find a way to like play online on that too. It was like I can't remember their names, but I can remember like the circumstances and stuff like that. Like, I knew that, there were brothers and one was a little bit older than the other. Stuff like that. Like, I have a lot of memories like that where I can remember those circumstances in that frame of time. Like, and I think another reason why this game is so special to me and resonates so much with me is that it's kind of tied to the relationships that I built, even though I don't have them anymore. Kind of tied to the relationships that I built when I played them, because I have these same um, kind of emotional attachment to other MMOs, to Ragnarok Online, Final Fantasy 11, World of War, well, kind of World of Warcraft, not as much, but just all these games that I built. These, like, I had basically like online friendships with, that I can remember. Like, I don't remember anybody's names or anything, but I remember, just hanging out and chatting, like freaking middle of the night, just, hanging out. It's like when you're basically like a teenager, those are the things that hit you the most.
yeah. I didn't really start to form online relationships until like after high school. The
Hmm.
PC we had was like literally 98, and until I left at '06, I didn't get my own computer until then. So like online games on that computer were basically a no go once when they got super popular.
Hmm.
And I just stuck with console gaming. So didn't really grow up with like online relationships as much as I did like real life ones.
Hmm.
So it's kind of interesting hearing about the people who got the opportunity to do that back then, because it was so much harder to do. Like, our internet was so much slower.
Yeah,
If someone just picked up the phone, you're fucking offline.
I hated that shit. There'd be so
y-
many times where I'm like in the middle of a boss fight and the phone would ring, or my mom's like, "I need to use the phone," and I'm like, "No."
no.
Like, it took me 2 hours to get here.
Oh man.
Shit was awful.
Yeah. Uh, some things people are like, man, it was such a simpler time back then. Be like, there are some things I can do without.
hmm Some some simpler is good. Some simpler is bad.
Yeah. Uh, so kind of a shorter episode this time around, but that's okay because I feel like I got great content from you and your stories and talking about this kind of weird mythical game that a lot of people didn't get a chance to play, but man, I saw it from afar and is like, I really do want to play that. I just don't have the opportunity to, and like uh,
I
things
mean,
like that. And
they do have free servers on PC.
what?
Just
Oh,
saying.
that's exactly what I was going to transfer next as well. Because are you thinking about possibly getting on the free online servers? And for those who don't know, there are private servers on PC that are still running to this day, and apparently they're still popular. Like you can have
Yeah.
like 200 people on there a night per server, and I'm like, damn, that's a lot.
Yeah, like the most popular one right now. Well, this is the most popular one when I looked into it a few years ago. It's called Fantasy Star Online Blue Burst.
Yeah,
And they basically have, I think they have all the content. I want to say the uh, they've upped the experience and the drop rates of stuff just to make things a little bit more interesting. So you're not like having to grind quite as much. Um, but yeah, there's even different like sub servers. So Blueburst is basically the game client itself, and then there's different servers based on that client. So like I'm looking at one right now. It's called Ephanea. It says Tetheala official server, and with private servers. So I've been into private servers for online games for a long time. I did it with Ragnarok Online. I did it with Final Fantasy 11. I've done it with a number of online games, and it's kind of fun to just like kind of relive the nostalgia a little bit, you know?
yeah.
Um, like with this one, like drop charts, the drop rates are a little bit higher. I think the experience rate's a little bit higher. Obviously, there's a lot more people playing it. It's free. It's right now there's 352 people on in the or total, 264 of those being in the US, which is honestly decent for an old game. Like you don't really need that many people, you know?
I did a little bit of research, and a lot of people kind of agree. Ironically, years after the original game is dead, this is the best way to play these games. Like it's
Yeah.
better now than it was back then. I wonder if they added voice chat because you
Um
said that you could only type on there, and with like
I
modern tech, if they added a voice chat line,
I don't think so cuz I just don't think it was part of the game
could
client to begin with.
okay.
Um I mean, I'm sure there's Discord servers that you can literally just join or, you know, to make it easier.
Yeah, if Discord sticks around by the time this episode's up.
Uh, don't say that. I know. I was. I know. I'm like wanting to install the game right now that we're talking about it. But I tried to get my buddy into it because he grew up with different consoles than me. I grew up with some of the same ones as him, but he never had the Dreamcast or the GameCube or anything like that. So he didn't have a lot of exposure to this game. And I was kind of gushing over it a few years ago, and I'm like, dude, like we should play the online servers. Drop rates are better, XP rates are better. It's more accessible. It's free. We played, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 hours. Got to that worm boss that I told you about. I guess we were under leveled, and we just could not get past.
Oh. That's
and
too
then
bad.
and then I think he just lost interest, and I'm like, oh, made me a little sad. But I was like, I'm kind of tempted to boot it back up and just, oh man,
I did pick up a couple of years ago Fantasy Star Online 2 for
yeah.
literally like the tutorial, and my friend who was like, you should play this, he dropped out. And so I did too. I vaguely remember the tutorial. I might get back into it. Does that give you any interest at all? Like, have you
I
thought about playing too?
I've thought about it, but I've also heard it's very different.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. I do know it looks much more modern. Like this,
Yeah.
way after one. Like not just lore wise. I mean, like in actual physical time, like almost
Hmm.
2 decades. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely curious to try it, but I think I'm sure my nostalgia goggles will be like, oh, this isn't as good as the original.
yeah, and that could be a killer. It is free. I think I'm pretty damn sure it's free,
Yeah.
which
I think
makes
I
you go,
installed it on my Xbox at one point, and then I just never tried it.
yeah. And I think I only have it for the PC, and that might be another reason why I dropped it because my PC is not exactly the best. Um, I'm still a console gamer after all these years, and I would love to get a brand new PC, but the way that shit is right now, I don't know if I'd be able to afford it.
I That's the thing is I go back and forth. Like, I think at the end of the day, I'm a console boy.
Yeah.
I've always dipped my toe into PC gaming over the years. Like, even when I was younger, when we had a home PC before I built my own. When I was like, like, um, even before teenage years, like real early teenage years, like I would always dip my toe into stuff, like play some Sim City, some Doom, some whatever. And but I would always primarily play on console. And even now, like I bought a beefy pre-built PC. Normally I'd build my own, but graphics cards were ridiculously priced like 4 years ago. So
Now it's RAM.
yeah, I know. It's like, what? I know. And so I bought like this beefy $3,000 PC, and I've played it a little bit, but I still game like 98% on console.
Yes, same
So,
here.
I don't know what it is. I even have my PC. I'm sitting in my gamer right now, and I have my PC hooked up to my 75-inch OLED TV, and that's literally what I'm using it on. Um, so I mean, technically, it's like a console-like experience, but I don't know. It's just I'm just gravitate towards console gaming. I don't know what it is.
Well, the thing about console gaming is
Plug and play.
plug and play, because if the game
Yeah.
doesn't run, you know it's the game's fault and not
Yeah,
you.
that's true. The only thing that's nice about the main I guess the main benefit of PC gaming over console gaming is that you can pretty much always play things like one, you can mod things, which I never really do anyways, but more importantly, you can kind of play stuff at whatever resolution or frame rate or graphic quality or whatever that you want on PC, which is kind of nice. With consoles, you're like, well, this is the limitation of the hardware. This is all you're going to get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, trying to get back on track, are there any last thoughts you want to give about the original final Fantasy Star Online?
I was like, you got one of the words right.
Yeah.
um, I would say to anyone who has any sort of interest in this game, if I provided any sort of intrigue, check out Fantasy Star Online Blueburst on PC. The the requirements to run it are super low. It's an old game. The PC version, I think, came out right around the same time as like the Xbox and GameCube version. So it's what, 20 something years old. Um, People still play it. You can play with default drop rates and stuff like that if you want the classic experience. I'm sure there's still servers with better drop rates and stuff like that. So I think it's fun. Obviously, it's a 24-year-old game, so um, have your
Be careful of sharp
ex-
angles. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it looks pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie, even by today's standards, like I think it's held up well. But like the combat's real time, but it's still a little slower. Like just kind of manage your expectations. Maybe watch a few videos on it before you try it. But like I said, it's free, so you don't really have much to lose besides potentially a little bit of time. But I think it still holds up.
Yeah, and again, I appreciate you for joining me on this episode of Old Game Save.
Sure. Thanks
Sly,
for having
where
me.
can people find you?
Pretty much everywhere. Xbox, Steam, PlayStation, Discord, at the Sly G Cooper. Xbox is the only one that's different. There's no the because apparently there was too long. So I'm on Switch as well, but I don't remember what my friend code is. So if you want to play something on Switch, just hit me up on something else, and I'll give you my friend code. But and then platinum achievements, we're kind of on a hiatus right now, or I am with the podcast. But if you want to check that out, it's platinum achievements on YouTube and I think possibly Spotify.
Awesome. And you guys can find me here at Sage Temple Studios. Check out Sage Temple on Patreon. I am starting a Patreon. If you want your name shouted out in the uh, credits, go ahead and do that there. I am having a new show that's really short. It's literally what I have been playing, what I've been doing lately. My next episode will be coming out shortly. I'm going to wait till I can give some first thoughts on Resident Evil 9 before I release my second episode on that. So it'll be coming out soon. I also have other games I've been playing that I want to talk about. Neo 3 is something I've been playing as well. Uh, y'all should check me out there. And I've also got a link bios Sage Temple Studios. If you're listening to this on a podcast player that you're not too fond of, try and find me on other podcast players like RSS feed and SoundCloud, and the link bios will connect you there. As for myself, I hope you all have an awesome night tonight and happy gaming.